And we're live?
Live.
Okay. We're getting so much better at this, I guess, between our microphone and Bill's experience as Marty Scorsese. So this is our 10th week in the Art of the Garnish series of cocktail parties, originally started as part of the coronavirus, the SIP, this sheltering in place, Mike's sort of clever way of referring to it. And so we have about a month left, to do it. But so far in the series, as a way to come together and to celebrate cocktail hour at home and a happy hour at home. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Leanne. I'm the author of The Art of the Garnish, and thank you all so much for all your support and writing reviews. David Barg wrote a great review this week on Amazon. I just can't tell you how important that is for all those crazy algorithm reasons and whatever. And I've also written the Hamptons and Long Island Homegrown Cookbook, and more on the way. So since the start of the series, I've always tried to bring in some of my garden, because for me, I'm not only an author, but I write about food and drink. So obviously it's a little challenging when there's not restaurants that are open that we can cover. But I've always come at the food and drink from the plant standpoint, because I'm a garden designer and a horticulturist. And when you think about it, all the different liquors, everything comes from a plant. So if we can talk, I try to present the edible flowers and things from our garden. And from the beginning, we talked about the cherry blossoms, and I made those edible cherry blossoms, the pickled ones, which were, I think, really great. The recipe from Ian Young's Tabasco. And think Kinka, that's going to be opening soon, where she's going to curate lots of beautiful, everything about plants and flowers, and we'll have lots of workshops and good things. But also about, what do we have next? We had, I think, the lilacs, the edible lilacs as a garnish, and the simple syrup. We also had the tulip blossoms. We talked about that. We made it sort of like a gimlet that went with it. Last week I used hostas in with the garnish. They taste a little bit like asparagus and lettuce. Last night I had a hosta salad along with some of our fresh arugula. So I'm hoping that some of the fun of the cocktail series is that you also get to look at your gardens and say, I can eat and drink all of this also. So today, just before, that's why I was racing to get ready, but from our garden, the iris, I hated to cut it, but it's so beautiful. I had to share with you, my lovely friends. And I always say, France can have any flower it wants as its national flower, but the fleur-de-lis is their emblem of France, and so beautiful with the purple and the yellow. I love that Mediterranean color. We're getting into June is rose month, so I cut the roses from our garden. This is Amsonia. If you can see this, it's now one of Bill's favorites, and it's just coming into bloom, if you can see this. So it's like stars. It's so gorgeous. And then in the autumn, the plant turns like a golden yellow, which is gorgeous. The alliums are fading. The sage is just coming out. And I finally got my delphiniums, which was a real challenge. I was at Jean and Ted's not too long ago in the garden, and she has beautiful delphinium. It's one of the few perennial plants that is a true blue. There's a blue poppy. It's very, very rare and very difficult to grow. But for my grillscape garden, I think some of you have read about that on my Garden Glamour blog, where I designed a red, white, and blue garden, and then the grilling area and sitting area for Bill and for me, so we can enjoy, our garden rooms and the view that we have here from the Garden State, looking back at Manhattan and the Rockaways in Brooklyn. So one thing I did want to note, a special call out, is that this week we got the Machu Pisco. Bill's going to go over and show you the bottles. So they're from my really dear friends. I'm so honored that they sent it to me, because it's a challenge to be able to get some of the liquors and the things that we need in our drinks. So thankfully we have everything. But I could not get the Machu Pisco. So they sent it to us. Thank you, Melanie and Lizzie. And we're going to try to work that out for next week, where Melanie could be a co-host and talk about her really truly American story and how they became so successful. They're Peruvian nationals, and it's just a story about women and how they overcame challenges and to become so successful. And I think it's a great story that I would love to write in a book. But with this sort of mashup of seasons, if you will, I forgot to say, I was going to ask, to be polite, how people's weeks went.
Roberta's watching.
Hi, Roberta.
And so's your mom.
Hi, Mother. How are you? I did want to share one really cool thing that Roberta got. She shared with me today. Let's see, just before I was getting ready. Look at this. Roberta has her own glass, and those beautiful rhododendrons behind it is just terrific. I love it. We have them on our tablescape now, but my champagne glass is monogrammed too, so everyone should have their own glass, right? But this week we did a lot of horticulture and planted a lot of things for clients. We did a whole peony garden for one of my clients, and it's great because they are deer resistant, so I'm hoping. But to me, they're my favorite, the most elegant flowers. So the fragrance is wonderful. I want to make a fragrance, a Duchess fragrance, but the peony plants can be eaten also. So that's my surprise garden to glass feature for today. The other thing that we did this week that was so much fun and so interesting, and I posted a little bit on Instagram, was that we went to a Zoom live event with Josh Sushin. He's one of the featured mixologists.
Caitlin's watching.
Hi, Caitlin. So beautiful you are. And he had a Zoom event, so I would encourage people to go on Ice and Alchemy on Instagram and get the, how you can sign in. So Bill and I are going to do, this past week we made Kentucky, mint juleps that were out of this world. And the recipe's in the book, but to do it live was great. And we had that great pellet ice that I showed you a couple weeks ago with the machine, so that worked fantastic. And then we made whiskey sours fresh with the fresh egg whites. So Roberta, I'm going to make that for you and Jenny and for my mother tomorrow. So when I told Mother that we made the whiskey sour, she said, I love that. So remember last week when I was saying how much whiskey sours were always part of the bridge club or part of, weddings and things like that, or the country club. So, but this was just, even Bill absolutely loved it. So I encourage you all to go to Ice and Alchemy and check that out. We also had some really good news. I think some of you saw on my Instagram that we were doing an homage garden to one of my garden clients' uncles who passed away and who lived with them. So the grandnephew did a lot of plantings. So Louis did all the tomatoes and squash and zucchini and so on. And it was a real challenge because they were ready to go, but then it was that, remember, frost freeze. And but I said to my team, things can happen with plant love and a little magic. And Julie wrote to me today that they are coming back. So yay! So I'm thrilled with that. So because of the peonies and the peony planting, I got 3 Ito tree peonies, so I'm very excited about being able to grow them. But I just think they're the most elegant, flowers. But because it's now hot, it all of a sudden turned to instant summer here. So I've been dying to do this drink from the book called the Botanical Garden Spritz. So I'll show it to you. And I think, honestly, don't look at my nails or my hair or anything. It's really getting ugly with Corona look. So, but this is from a contributing mixologist from London, and I'll read you the head note that I wrote about him. So he says, for 5 days in May, Christmas comes to Chelsea in London in the form of the Royal Horticultural Society's Chelsea Flower Show, with the show attended by members of the British royal family, You see the Queen, you see Kate. Even Kate did a couple of garden installations recently. And people from all continents. The neighborhood becomes swarmed by flower enthusiasts. With their love of freshness in mind, Callum, that's Callum O'Flynn, he was the bartender at the Botanist on Sloane Square in London. Callum crafted this cocktail for those in town for the show. So we're going to make this now. So I love it because it's also in some ways like a homage to my British ancestors. So let's see. Oh, I forgot one thing, like the big news from last week I didn't even share. So let me share this. So in the Two River Times, which is our Monmouth County local paper, and down at the bottom they had a call out here from me, and then there was this. I'll share it like in a link, but I forgot to share it last week. But look at that. That's like really something, right? So it's a whole feature in the lifestyle section. So I figured that I wanted to share that with you. I'm just so proud of it, and I'm very excited, and I'm very, very grateful. Last night I did have a little bit of a scare, I will say that, is that I came home from gardening. That's why, Roberta, I couldn't do the cocktail thing last night. I thought maybe I had a tick bite, which was like really gross, but we were at the doctor's first thing this morning, and mercifully it was not that. She did tell me that, and when I was telling her that, I said I have these cocktail live events, so I have to be ready for that. So it was like, I gotta look good for here. So we're gonna make this very botanical drink, and it's made with dry gin. It's made with a kind of aperitif that I can get here. So I chose Pim's because it's truly, a British aperitif, and it's gin based. So I thought that would go with it. You could also use Lillet. I mean, that's a little fruitier, like in a way. So I want to use this gin, even though I love Bombay, and last night was a sort of gin and tonic night before our tick scare. But the Hendrix is made with cucumber, and I just thought that would be kind of fun in a way too. So I'm going to use a little bit of both to be able to blend them. The cucumber is in the rose family, so I don't know if people know that from a plant standpoint. This is interesting. So for the next drink, because we have two tonight, I'm cooling off the glass in there. Okay, so here's my measuring thing. So we're going to take first, it's the gin. Okay. We've also had a big challenge with the vermouths here. I think I was telling you last week that I'm going to do double of this, that our local liquor store here, I mean, I turned him on to Dolan not too long ago, and then he was completely sold out of it, and I felt like, I'm the one that turned you on to it, and he could have kept some of the Blanc. So yeah, this goes really well with cucumbers because, like I said, it's cucumber based. Let's see, we'll put this here. And then I have, let's see, so the vermouth, and I think that is down here. Uh-oh. I'm not used to being tethered. I'm a free girl, so the microphone, I hope the sound is good because everyone said last week it was going very well. Okay, so the Dolan I like as the vermouth because it has so many botanicals in it. So this is the dry, and I do prefer the Blanc, but like I said, you can't get it. But you'll love this. This is, I think, one of the best vermouths on the market. Okay, and then let's see, we have, the Pims. So, it's also a good time for gin because, British always, because they would, all the colonies that they had, they would go and be drinking in the heat of the day or working in the heat of the day, and all the local people said, that's how they got that saying, it's for mad dogs and Englishmen, because they would go out during the heat of the day and nobody else would do it. But it keeps you cool. And the quinine is from the quinine tree that came from South America, and of course was such a medicinal plant and really changed the course of the world. That's another fascinating part, I think, about plants, is how they, can change the world from marijuana to agaves to tobacco. Like, you think of all the different plants and the impact that they've, had on the world. But anyway, Pimm's is gin based. It was first produced in 1823. The Brits refer to it as the taste of summer. It's sort of the quintessential summer drink. It's made from lots of herbal botanicals. It also has some caramelized orange in it and some warm spices. So I figure, we'll try that. But like I said, you could use, if you can find what's recommended in the book, but I think it's a little bit of a challenge at this point in the Corona period. But Lillet is good. My great sister-in-law Bonnie and I, we love that. Okay, so now the next ingredient I truly love is Saint Germain. So I do go through this with some efficiency. Saint Germain is elderflower, and from the elderberry. So that's a really beautiful little plant that grows like we're at this time in Europe. So that's what I'm encouraging you all also. But it's a beautiful bottle, don't you think? It's so now the piece de resistance. I have to borrow a eye drop from one of my other bitters, but I made this bitter about 3 weeks ago. I started, and I used the dandelion and burdock. And dandelion is really good for kidneys and your liver, which, if you're drinking, this has to be like the perfect ingredient, right? It's clove-like, but I marinate it, let it sit, in a bigger jar, and every day I would shake it. And I tasted it last night. It's really fantastic. But I just thought it was so funny that, like when I grew up, especially Italian Americans, they would always make salads out of the dandelion, and then from their lawn, from their own yard. But then it came to be that people would say, I don't want that in my yard. And so what would they do is that they would put the chemicals on the lawn. And then recently, when people discovered that dandelion salad is very good for you, then they go to the green market and buy it for like $2-3 a pound. So if you don't put chemicals on your lawn, which I think is the best thing to do, so you could put this in a brandy snifter. If you see this in the book, it's like a little bit bigger glass. It's called the Nick and Nora glass.
The shaker.
Well, that's from my other drink. It's called a Nick and Nora glass, and it was from the series The Thin Man. So you could do it bigger like this if you want to, just have a larger size glass. But the Nick and Nora glass is a combination of a martini glass and a coupe glass. So I don't have that, so I'm going to use the coupe glass, which is so beautiful. I think it's good for everything. That's one of the things when you're doing your home bar. Think about all the different glasses that you have. You can repurpose, you can use, for whatever, obviously. So you're going to wrap this around.
Cucumber.
What?
Cucumber.
Yes, it's cucumber. We did it on the Madeleine, but, you can just shave it and slice it. Shake, 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 shake. Bill likes the shaking part of it. Okay. And then, because you see how frosty it gets. This is like a really fun part, making that whiskey sour too, and you see the egg whites coming up. Frothy. Bill's like, whoa. Okay, so you take your hawthorn. I love it for the happy face. You're gonna pour it out. And then, so one of the first garnishes is the pansy. And we're just finishing the season for the pansies here in the New York Garden State area. So my mother was gracious, thanks Mom for allowing me to have these today. So the pansy is seasonal, and I know a lot of people think they can keep them going, but they really can't. So it's wilting time, but I got these just in time. And I love the legend of the pansy. So the yellow and purple, it's a Romanian legend, and it was you can put dill in it also, and then I have some, so this is fresh dill, And I took some of our asparagus tops because I really like that. So I think that's feathery also. That's the top of the asparagus.
So it's a drink and a salad.
And then the piece de resistance that Callum puts in it is a fresh, clean peacock feather. And you know, if you know me, I love exotic birds, whether it's peacocks or flamingos. I'm sorry, I have to take a picture of this because it's so pretty. But I think that's part of the seduction of the cocktail. So not only surround yourself with flowers, fragrance, good music, good people, obviously. And when we're doing it here together, that we got the people going on that. But so here's the legend of the.
Julie's watching.
My Julia?
Julie Mason.
Yeah. Hi, Sunshine. Holistic Girl. If you want to do yoga, you can sign on to Julia Mason on Zoom. She has great yoga, folks. So I was telling Julia this legend the other day, her and Darren's, that this Romanian legend about the prince marrying the princess, and the queen decides she's very jealous because the princess is so beautiful. So she asks a magician to put a spell on the princess and turn her into a toad. But when the sorcerer or the apprentice comes to do it, he can't. So he turns her into a beautiful flower, the pansy. And the purple and the yellow, they say, is because the princess was wearing a velvet purple and yellow gown that day. And if you go out in the morning and you see the water or the dew on the pansies, they say that's because the princess is crying because of the love of her husband, the prince. Oh, come on, so many plants have good lore. Oh my God, that is so refreshing. You know, I was a little hesitant to use the Pims because I thought maybe it was a little bit too dark of a color, and that's why I said to Bill, when you're going out, if you can get the Lillet, you know, bring it. But this is so rich. I really think you're gonna love this. All right, I'm just checking the time here because it's so delicious. Oh my God, that is so great. Okay, what's everybody else drinking this evening? Tell me what do you have? The next one we're going to make is the Rosa Picante, and I'll show you the picture first. And I just thought, well, it's summer, and because like I said, we went from like spring to like immediate hot. I think it was like 85 when I came down to the speakeasy tonight. So I thought everyone loves tequila, right? And it's good for you. Bill and I went to a tequila class at the New York Botanic Garden not too long ago, and it was just so fascinating to learn. I think particularly for people in the Northeast who are not used to having, look at this beautiful succulent plant that one of my dearest aunts gave to me, this blue guy. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So it's going to go outside now that it's hot out. But this Rosa Picante, I'll read the head note from it. It says, looking to dress up a jalapeno-centered margarita, Jordan Corney, he's the bar manager, I don't honestly know if he's still there in San Antonio, he used a rose petal and a dash of rose water to balance the cocktail's heat. His simple, flowery take paid off. This cocktail was Patron's Margarita of the Year in 2016.
Caitlin's drinking wine. Roberta's drinking margarita.
Who's drinking wine?
Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin. All right, girl. She loves her wine. I'm gonna jazz her up. And what's Roberta drinking?
Margarita.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna put this in. The one thing I didn't do is bring down the rose water, but I see it doesn't really matter because I'll just pretend I'm like shaking it in. Okay. So there's so many different kinds of tequila. I'm gonna go across now, but I like the Patron, and they've been very good to me over the years. Plus, this is the award-winning, so I'm going to go strictly by their recipe. I have to show you these cute little plates. I got this from the people at the Hilton in Cabo San Lucas. There's two of them. I'll show you the other one. Is it out there, Bill? Oh, yeah, if you can hand me that. No, he can't. But they're cute little dishes, and I got these. And at the apartment in New York, I kept the little dolls that they gave me, but they're very sweet. Okay, so now we're going to make the margarita. Roberta, did you pour it or did you just shake it up, or how did you? All right. I'm going to put the coupe glass in to get a little cool here. And also because I'm going to, where's the limes? Aha. So for this one, we're going to rim the side of the glass with salt. Some people don't like salt. I know my mother has to watch with some issues about salt, but this is with pink Himalayan salt. I thought it'd be beautiful on this Lennox plates, which I adore, and I use them with green plates. You know, I do tablescapes also for dinner parties for clients. I'm going to do Jordan's wedding with the cocktails, so we'll do a beautiful composition for that. This is really good, guys. And see, like I say, with the French and Italian, they say the eyes eat first. You look at this, it's so beautiful. And then when you get closer and you can smell the botanicals that are in it, the dill, the flower, it's just die for. Okay. So now making the margarita, we've got our Patron. And I'm going to put 2 of these in here. So the tequila, you know, to be honest, I really liked the smokier tequilas or Pazzo, but after taking the class, they're saying like it's more pure just to be able to use, you know, what you would call like the white tequilas rather than the smoky ones. So I think personally the smoky ones are more for the sipping, and the others that this like a lime. You could put in here, lime tequila. And then we've got some simple syrup. I made the ginger simple syrup before, earlier today, and I was saying you can make simple syrup out of anything. So this is ginger, but I forgot one thing in that delicious drink, and I have to go back because it's so pretty. But I love this soda. I have to go back and do it. You know, when I was talking about the bar cart and how important it is, and this is one of the things I think is key that you should have. So it's just cool looking, you see. But you can make your own soda water. So you put a little, that's what makes the Botanical fizz. It's like, I don't know how I forgot about it. But this one is beautiful. We've had it for years.
It's French.
It is French? So this is the Spritz. Sorry, I was talking. Much better. Okay, so now we're back to the simple syrup for the Rosa Picante. All right, so I put that in, and lime juice, here we are. So we got the fresh squeezed lime juice. If you have a juicer, it's great. If not, you know, if you have to buy it, I really like the Key West for the lime juice. Just make sure it doesn't have a lot of like bad ingredients in it. Okay, and then I've got the ginger simple syrup. So it's really, simple syrup is 1 part sugar to 1 part water, and then anything that you want to put in it, whether it's vanilla or ginger or lapsang souchong tea. I like that for like smoky drinks. Okay, where's my top? Here we are. So now I'm going to line the rim of the coupe glass in this pink Himalayan salt. So you can't beat that because it's so pretty. It's pink. Everyone's pretty in pink. Even guys. I think there's a whole store called Pink, right? Anyway, when they call that glass the Nick and Nora glass, that was based on a Dashiell Hammett movie, and then there was a TV series, so it was way before all of our time. But you can see how pretty that is with the pink on the top. And then here we're going to shake, shake, shake. And you want to shake it until you can see all the frosting on the side of the glass. My Swarovski crystals are coming on. So last week, Jordan and I wore the Ralph Lauren. Today it's Tommy Hilfiger because it's like spring, I thought like florally. Mom, if you want this tomorrow, Mother, I can make this for you too instead of the whiskey sour or both. Usually we start off our Zoom family meetings with a little bit of champagne. So you can see you put the fresh cut jalapeno in there. We're growing them in the garden, but they're not ready yet. And then a rose petal. And then I buy these from Le Bois. He's in the book also. I love him. So this is what Lior Lev Sakar is. They call him the Spice Whisperer. And he and Eric Ripar, so he's the really fantastic chef at La Bernardin. I was so honored to meet him twice. He was so great that he came to our table. And he was best friends with, who was one that killed himself? Anthony Bourdain, which is such a shame. A man right from here, from the Garden State, but he, those are, okay. Now, Roberta, here's to you and Margarita. Oh my God, this could be the summer drink, Bill.
Fine.
Oh my God. It's pretty. It's a little bit spicy. I like the pink Himalayan salt as the rim on it. I just think that adds something pretty and like in the glass like this. So it's perfect. It's just perfect between the two of them. So I think I kind of went over time a little bit. I don't know what time it is.
5:30.
Yeah, it's already 5:30, so I'm sorry. So if anybody has any thoughts or questions or anything, let me know. You can also do the follow-up on Garden Glamour on Facebook Live, or just, email after. You can see it. I'll post it afterwards. But this was really fun, so I hope you enjoyed these really botanical drinks today. So they were easy to do, but they're nuanced, and they have a lot of story and character to them. And I love making them for you because I love you. Enjoy your gardens, enjoy your season, and stay safe, stay healthy. Cheers.